Sorry guys, like my bangs are not cooperating with me recently. My hair is so long and I desperately need a haircut. So if it looks like there's a little curl here, I can't help it. It's just how it is right now. Hey guys, today is, well, I guess now today is Thursday, March 19th. It's 12:05 a.m. I currently have 28 followers on Instagram, and on TikTok I have 56 followers. So this is gonna end up being my first episode. I recorded a different one a couple days ago, but I accidentally deleted one of the files that I needed to finish editing before it was done processing, so all the files got corrupted and it didn't save, so I just said fuck it. And honestly, I wasn't really proud of how it looked either, so I'm just gonna start fresh. And yeah, this is the first episode of my podcast. My name's Aubrilyn, and I just wanted a space just to talk about art, to talk about my passions, my thoughts, my endeavors, my life, pretty much everything. This whole podcast is going to be loosely based on art and creativity, but I'm sure I'll go on some tangents here and there because this is my corner of the internet, and I just want to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Just to give you guys a little bit of context as to who I am, my artistic background, and where I'm at in life right now. I am a multi-medium artist. I've been doing art pretty much my entire life. The mediums I use the most are watercolor, acrylics, oil pastels. I love collaging, but I love doing as many forms of art as I can. I'm a big crafter. I've been learning crochet. I eventually want to learn how to sew, and pretty much anything creative, you name it, I do it, or I want to do it. I also have a background in theater, and I love music. I'm starting to love TV and movies. It was not really my thing for a long time up until now, so I'm chronically behind. I love pop culture, but I'm still very new to it, so there are a lot of references that I don't really get, and whatever, but here we are. How am I gonna go through with my background? I guess I started with just having small sketchbooks as a kid and doodling, doing coloring books as most kids do, and my grandma was really creative and she taught me how to hand sew things with felt, and I really loved that. And at the end of elementary school, I developed a really deep love for anime. I was a really big nerd, so I started drawing my favorite anime characters, and me and my friends, we would all just draw each other in these little anime universes and make comics and entertain each other that way. So that's kind of how my passion for art started, was that I just wanted to get really good at drawing anime characters and manga, and I really loved being a comic artist, so I wanted to learn more about how to pursue that. So I started doing just like little casual art lessons when I was in 5th grade or 4th grade, and the teacher told me to start focusing on realism, and I got really upset at her because I was like, I don't want to learn realism, I just want to learn anime. And she was like, no, in order to get better at drawing anime, you have to learn realism. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I started learning realism, and then after that, I eventually in middle school started to kind of grow out of being a huge weeb. Like, I still like anime casually now, but especially with my art, I started focusing a lot more on creating realistic things. So in middle school, I hit a pretty big art block because I had a pretty rough childhood, so I kind of stopped doing art. Like, I always loved drawing and painting, but some of the figures in my life really discouraged me from doing art and pursuing it as a career, even though that's what I've wanted to do my entire life. So I kind of stepped away from art for a little bit and pursued theater. And then once I was back in high school, I was kind of trying to balance, like, oh, I want to be an artist, I want to be in theater. I really wanted to be in theater, I wanted to be on Broadway and all that stuff, so I completely locked in on that and nothing else. And then once I graduated high school, I edged away from theater, and then come college, I started wanting to pick up art again. I initially went into college with the intention to do holistic therapies, and I did my senior project on shadowing an art therapist in holistics, so there was still a part of me that wanted to pursue art, but I wasn't exactly sure how. So then I wanted to get into like some really sciencey things and Then after that, I ended up being influenced by somebody I know to do communications as a major. So then I got an associate's in communications, and I went from like a community college, transferred to a university, and then life once again slapped me in the face, and I had to drop out of school in order to pay rent. So after that, I started locking in on art as a way to make money, because that was pretty much my last resort, because I was so broke and in such a desperate situation. And I started doing little like art sales, doing some vending. I did like some crochet projects, things like that. And then I ran into another issue where in my area you have to be a licensed business owner in order to do vending. So then I had to stop, and I ended up focusing on trying to promote my art on social media, and then I fell off, and then it's been a lot of back and forth with me. I tried going back to community college for fine art and then dropped out again because of my financial situation. But while I was there, I took a figure drawing class, and I was only in it for half a semester, but it changed the entire trajectory of how I look at art, how I create art, how I look at a subject and translate it into whatever I'm creating. So it was all just really, sorry guys, like my bangs are not cooperating with me recently. My hair is so long and I desperately need a haircut. So if it looks like there's a little curl here, I can't help it. It's just how it is right now. Anyway, I started creating art more, not as regularly as I wanted to, but that was in 2023, so now flash forward, we're in 2026, and I'm really trying to take my art seriously this year. It's March, so I know it's a little late to be talking about resolutions or whatever, but that is genuinely my goal for 2026, is to really have my business take off, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity to document my journey into becoming a professional artist and eventually being able to quit my job. But ironically, I am unemployed right now. I started off 2026 getting fired from my job. I feel like it had to happen. It's really pushed me out of my comfort zone, and it's really helped me start to love my art again and love my artistic process. And it's been a really exciting and frustrating journey. I'm currently unemployed. I've been making money off of just doing Uber Eats and nothing else. I've tried doing a couple swap meets with some of my products, but I don't have enough of an inventory, and also swap meets, a lot of people are just trying to find the best bang for their buck, so you're not going to make a lot of money as an artist there. Like pricing things at over $100, you know, nobody wants to spend that kind of money. Things are pretty rough right now. I have like $3 in my bank account right now, and that's it. And yeah, but that being said, I did get a new job, so we'll be starting that, and hopefully I don't have to be in corporate America for much longer, because I just can't stand it. I've never been able to stand it. I know that's just not where I need to be, but for now, that's what I have to do. So, some context as to what I did in 2025. Again, I know we're almost a quarter of the way into 2026, but just kind of giving some context of my previous achievements. 2025 is where I achieved the most I ever have as an artist. I painted my first mural, which was really exciting. I didn't think I'd be able to paint my first mural for at least a couple more years, honestly, but that was really exciting. I'd love to do more in the future. It was pretty small. It was only maybe like 4 feet by 4 feet on a small corner of a wall, but nevertheless, it's a mural, and it's something really exciting that I've done before and that I've added to my portfolio. And then after that, I also finally got my business license last year and started doing some more vending. I don't really enjoy vending, honestly. Maybe it's just because I've never had enough inventory to actually sell a lot of products, but I don't know, just something about it. I just can't sit down and create an inventory. It just doesn't click in my brain. So yeah, I got my business license last year. I'm an officially registered LLC. I probably have to renew my license in the next few months, but lo and behold, we're registered as an LLC. We're an official business, so that's something. And then I did my first commission last year for some family friends. I taught some classes, which was really awesome. I also didn't think I'd be teaching classes for a few more years in the general public, so that was really fun. I taught at one of my favorite art stores in town, and I really didn't think I'd be able to reach that milestone for a really long time. So those are all really exciting things that I've done, and now here we are, 2026 and unemployed and struggling and having a mental breakdown over the state of my art business right now. Today I just spent about 3 hours, I want to say, just editing a reel, and then that's in addition to maybe like 2 or 3 hours yesterday. So I kind of burned myself out. And on top of that, I started working on this painting I was really excited for yesterday. So I was like painting on this table, but then I was like sitting on a couch, and the couch was lower than the table was, so my view of the painting was a little bit distorted. So from the view I was at on the couch, it looked really awesome and I was really excited, and then I looked at it from above, the way I would photograph it in order to post, and the faces were completely stretched out and it looked awful. Well, maybe not like awful, like you could still tell what the subject matter was, but lo and behold, it was nowhere near what I wanted it to be. So then after that, I spiraled and I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? This is just not working. Whatever, you know, typical artist melancholy, being like, oh my god, I'm not good enough, I'm not yada yada yada. Like, I know I'm a good artist. I know it's fine, I'm just being dramatic, but I think just small little things like that where I spend a lot of time on things and it doesn't turn out, or I'm not progressing the way I want to be, I just get so frustrated and then I get upset. Today, I wanted to do more art, but I feel like Spirit was just leading me away from it and being like, baby girl, take a break. Chill. Like, take a chill pill. I've been so hyper-focused on editing, like, multiple different vlogs and the podcast episode I was talking about earlier and this fucking reel and a bunch of other just things, and I've been so overwhelmed and I've been putting so much pressure on myself, and I feel like I reached my limit today and I was so upset. I felt so far dissociated from real life and I was just frustrated, honestly, because I genuinely feel like I'm not progressing the way I want to be in the art sphere, and it's just been really taking a toll on me because I care so much about starting up this business. And in total, I don't care about the numbers, I don't care about how many followers I have. What I do care about is the fact that I'm reaching success. I'm achieving steady growth until I reach success, and recently I just have not been consistent enough. I have not been... It's not that I haven't been putting in any energy, because I've been putting in so much energy, but I've been seeing so little results because I haven't been following through with anything. Like, I've been putting a lot of eggs in a lot of different baskets instead of just going all in on things, but then at the same time I have been going so hardcore on certain projects that I end up building the potential, and then I get to this point where I literally fall off the cliff and then fall face first into the land instead of into the water, you know? So I've just been feeling a lot of angst recently and a lot of frustration because I don't have a lot of physical proof of the work I've been putting in, and I haven't been growing my accounts as much because I haven't been posting as much, even though I've been doing a lot of stuff and I've been focusing on a lot of different projects. And I think this kind of goes into the topic of perfectionism and how daunting it is to really pursue art. It's so scary, it's so frustrating, it's so taxing mentally and emotionally, because this is something I love, and this is like a promise I'm keeping to my younger self, and I know that innocence is still there of the little girl in me wanting to pursue art and just to be an artist and to just create my entire living. I see that part of myself, but then there's also, I don't really know what to call it, but there's this part of me that is so frustrated that I'm not there yet, and I don't even know what it looks like. I don't even know any of it, honestly. And I'm getting really frustrated because I genuinely don't know where I'm headed. I don't know how to get there. Like, I know what my end destination is. I know where I'm at now, but to get from point A to point B or point A to point Z, I don't know. And maybe the biggest point of it all is just letting myself fail, because I have such a big fear of failure, and not just failure, but also just looking like a complete idiot. And I know that in order to succeed, you have to look like an idiot sometimes, and you have to just put yourself out there into the world and just kind of face what you have to. And I think there's just a huge part of me that is such a perfectionist and that just wants to put out good content, but I don't even know how to make good content. I do think, though, with as much energy and effort as I've been putting into editing and doing these other projects that I haven't been pursuing, I have been learning still. So I know that later down the road, I'm going to be so thankful for this time where I was just learning and trying out a bunch of different things, even if I'm not posting them. But right now I just have no physical output to be like, wow, I'm growing so much and I'm doing so much and I'm gaining followers and I'm gaining likes and all this stuff. And again, that's not my main concern. It's not my main concern is to get like 100,000 followers. Like, that would be nice, and I aspire to get there eventually, but what I'm looking for is just to have at least one new follower a video, maybe 2, maybe 3, you know, having people at least looking at my content. They don't even have to interact with it, just looking at it. And I know that in order to be seen, I have to put myself out there, and I have to just keep on posting and keep on just kind of keep up with my flow, but I feel like I don't have a flow. I feel like it's just a struggle, and I feel like I can't just post things casually, and maybe this is something I have to work through and just put less pressure on myself with. But I feel like even when I'm trying to do like casual sketches, I just have to make a masterpiece every time. I can't help it. I really have a hard time just doing art casually, and now I feel like I pick up my sketchbooks and I can't even think of what to draw. Like, I put so much pressure on myself to make a masterpiece and to do amazing things every single time, instead of just letting that child in me just play and have fun, you know? So it's really difficult because I don't really know what to post. I don't know how to perfectly edit Reels or TikToks or YouTube videos, and I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly, I feel like I'm just a fish out of water, just flailing around, trying to breathe in some air, just trying to encourage myself to keep going, even though it's so freaking hard. It's so hard just to try to keep going when you feel like the odds are against you, and when you feel like inadequate, you know. And I know I have it in me, and I think that's the most frustrating part, is that I know it's within me, and I know I'm going to succeed eventually, and I know I'm going to do amazing things, but right now it's just struggling with the fact that I'm still figuring shit out. And I have such a hard time being in this space where I'm figuring things out, because I don't know what to do. Well, obviously, like, deep down in my brain, I know what to do, and it's just to keep posting, and to post the bad stuff, to post the good stuff, to just keep going and keep working at it, and all of that stuff. But those parts of my brain, I just feel like I can't casually pick up a sketchbook. I feel like I put so much pressure on myself with every single thing that I do that it's hard for me to just do cute little things that I can post every once in a while. Like, I do such big projects that it's hard for me to just post small little things, and maybe I could do small little sketches here and there and just do like, oh my gosh, here's my little drawing of the day, you know, that kind of thing. But I'm just trying to figure out what works for me. I'm having a really hard time figuring out what works for me as opposed to what works for other people that have already succeeded, you know? And I feel like there are some people that give really, really good advice for people who are starting out, but it just doesn't really resonate with me, and I'm trying to just figure out what the hell to do. And maybe I'll try posting cute little sketches once every day, but I don't know. I think another big part of my struggle is that my entire life, up until really just a few months ago, I've never really finished a lot of my projects because I feel like I fear the potential of what could be. And so I'll start a project and I'll have such an amazing vision, and then I won't end up pursuing it because the thought in my head, I get so scared that I won't be able to execute it perfectly. And so I'll start with a sketch, and then I'll look at the sketch and I'll be like, dang, that's a really good sketch, that's a really good concept, and then I'll just leave it as is because I'm afraid of what will happen afterward. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of doing stuff that doesn't meet up to my expectations. At this point, I'm not even concerned with what other people expect of me. I put so much pressure on myself, and I have such big visions and goals and aspirations that it's tedious every single time that I pick up a pencil or pick up my paintbrush, you know. It's difficult and it's hard and it's frustrating because I expect so much from myself even if I'm not there yet. And I'm just really trying to go into this now with being more gentle on myself, but I don't know. Anyway, I just don't really have a lot of finished projects to even post online, and that's what's frustrating me the most with like posting things on social media, is that I don't have things to post. I just have a bunch of unfinished sketches and a bunch of things with potential that aren't actually done and that aren't really that interesting or special. Like, they're special to me, but nobody understands the vision behind them that I have. So I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just try doing small sketches every day and seeing what I come up with, and not trying to make masterpieces. Maybe I'll do some junk journaling. Maybe I'll do just random shit until I figure my shit out, because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Genuinely, like, and I feel like I have so many ideas in my head, and I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of ideas that I have, but then also overwhelmed with just thinking about how to pursue it and how to make the vision come true and all of that. But my goal right now is just for steady growth, though, and I just need to keep on showing up for myself and showing up for my vision, and I know eventually I'll figure everything out. I know it'll come eventually, but I'm just frustrated right now because I don't know how it's gonna happen. I don't know how to get there. I don't know what I need to do. Well, I have some ideas of what I need to do, but this is just the cycle of my thoughts. I just think overall I need to stop putting pressure on myself. I think that's the biggest thing that's stopping me from doing great things, is the amount of pressure I put on myself to be perfect and to make perfect art and everything, and to have every single detail just right. And I feel like I'm getting there. I'm starting to understand when to put the paintbrush down and when to call it a day and when to keep going. You know, I'm starting to get more of a balance with that, but I also just need to create more bad art, and I need to just let my inner child play and just do art that's fun instead of stressing myself out every single time I do this stuff. I feel like I'm talking in circles. Well, I have nothing else in my head, so I guess that's where I'm gonna end it. I don't really have a particular schedule outlined in my head for how often I'm gonna be posting, but I feel like I have a lot to say about certain things, and it comes up with my ebbs and flows of my moods and all that stuff, so I'll just post whenever I have things to say and leave it at that. I'm gonna say at the very least I'm gonna try to post once every couple weeks and see how that goes, in addition to the other things that I end up posting. But my goal for now, my challenge to myself, is just to keep going and just to try to post a few times a week, even if it's nothing special, even if it's not as cool as I want it to be, just posting, because I see people that are frankly still starting out, you know, with their art journey, that have way more followers than me, and it's just because they post all the time and they just have fun with their art. And I feel like people love to see people who just post for the sake of posting and who love to see their growth and all that stuff. So I don't really know what I'm going to end up doing, but I'm at least going to try to keep on creating regularly and see where that takes me. So with that being said, that's all I have for you guys this episode. Please stay around and tune in to my next episode. I'm kind of assuming I'm going to be posting within the next couple days because there's just so much I have to say right now, and especially starting out, I'm really excited. So in the future, I'm really hoping to start interviewing more artists and other creators in any realm, pretty much, whether that's fine artists, musicians, filmmakers, people in theater, people in 3D, like sculptures and ceramics, and pretty much anything under the moon. I would love to just talk about creativity and the process of going from 0 to 100 and then eventually surpassing that. So yeah, thank you to each and every one of you who ends up watching this video and supports me on my way to becoming a successful artist. And thank you for tuning in. Bye.